Texas at age 52. And look at the onboard shot now as he warms the tires, the burnout. You get a sense for the vibration, the feel in the cockpit as he smokes those tires and gets ready to go against Dick LAHAIE.
Dick LAHAIE from Lansing, Michigan. He is the champion from the previous season. Won 3 races last year. This year has only had 1 victory.
And that victory was in the Winter Nationals when he beat Joe Amato in the finals. Hill has scored his first career victories this year. In fact, his first career win came in the Gator Nationals at Gainesville, Florida against Joe Amato. The run in the finals capped off a sensational weekend for Hill. He ran as fast as 5:06 and a run at 288 miles per hour. At that time, the fastest in the history of the sport. And, of course, wife Mercy Hill and crew chief Fuzzy Carter were jubilant in victory. And now, as Hill awaits an opportunity to go against LAHAIE, we should point out also that he went on to get a second career victory, again against Joe Amato in the Southern Nationals. Meanwhile, indications of a severe problem for Gene Snow after that earlier run against Gwynn. Let's quickly check now with Steve Evans.
Normally, a man going to the semifinals with a 529 would have more of a smile on his face. With Gene, as you well know, it's raining oil underneath that motor.
Yeah, she got a hole in there pretty big. I guarantee you, knocked a rod out of it.
You know, that has been a problem for you. The high gear only automatic clutch thing works great, but it seems to be hard on parts.
It's hard on the crankshaft, but something's got to be hard on something. It's hard to derive that kind of power with no gear reduction.
Back at the starting line, hand firmly on the brake. You're in the cockpit with Eddie Hill as he gets ready to go against Dick LAHAIE. LAHAIE, whose crew chief is his daughter, Kim, in the far lane, inching in. Both men stage. Here we go. Hill on the near side. It's tight, but Hill will prevail. And there's the reaction from the crew as Eddie Hill advances to the semifinals with a victory over defending Winston champion Dick LAHAIE. So the semifinal pairings have Hill against Snow. Hill has lane choice. And in the second semifinal pairing, Stutz against Amato. Amato with a lane choice is determined by the quicker ET in the previous round.
And Amato again has problems. Back at the pits, Tim Richards and crew are installing the 4th engine of the weekend. Don Garlitz once said, think of these top field racers like you might a rifle. You put in a cartridge, you shoot it, and then you put in another cartridge. That's the way the weekend's going for that crew. Now, a man who gets paid plenty for the pressure he endures is Kenny Bernstein's crew chief, Dale Armstrong. You see him backing up Bernstein now. It's time for race number 1 in round 2 of funny car competition. He's rumored, Big Daddy, to make $300,000 a year.
You can tell by the expression on his face right there, the pressure on Armstrong at this point, he's earning his money.
And part of the reason we see that pressure is because Kenny Bernstein hasn't won since March at the Gator Nationals. He is, however, a 3-time series champion.
Now, his opponent, Mike Dunn, the record holder at 280 miles per hour. Should he win today, he will keep that string going we talked about earlier of no repeat winners. Could we have 8 out of 8 races? Dunn has the power. He's the speed record holder at 280 miles per hour in that Joe Paisano car that is crew chief by Gary Slusher. They are ready and they are off right together. Boy, joyous racing as it was meant to be. Bernstein forges ahead or Mike Dunn dropped back. But anyway, Kenny wins it at 5:57 to a losing 5:71. For crew chief Dale Armstrong's thoughts on the run, let's go to Don.
Well, the performance is just a little off course. Is it the heat?
Yeah, it is, but the track was a little better this time because they scraped it, and we don't have a handle on the clutch yet, Don. I mean, you know, you see it smoking the tires on the dry, and it just ain't right, but, you know, you keep coming back on it, and you don't want to go back too far, and so we got to make some more adjustments yet.
So Armstrong still not happy with that power to traction ratio that's all controlled by the clutch, but at least they've advanced to the semifinals. Don Prudhomme trying to make it 2 wins in a row after a victory at Montreal. His burnout now as he gets ready to go against Mark Oswald. And here's evidence of the heat today. 100-degree temperatures. Kenny Bernstein working hard for his money today.
And, Gary, the points chase among the funny car drivers is as hot as today's weather. You can see with no repeat winners, they are all bunched right up with Mark Oswald on the top of the heap. And we'll be seeing Mark Oswald here in the far lane up against Don the Snake Prudhomme. The main reason that Oswald is on top of the points heap is that he won the inaugural running of the Mid-South Nationals this year in Memphis, Tennessee. Oswald's competition is now 6th in points, primarily because of that recent victory at the Grand Nationals in Montreal. Don the Snake Prudhomme.
And if anybody can run good, it's the Snake, because the crew on his team are working in a precision-like manner.
Oswald, the point leader, inches his Thunderbird body funny car into position while the Trans Am of Prudhomme is now staged. Here we go. Prudhomme with the advantage coming off the lights, close to the center line, but he controls it and he wins. wins it at 5:54, 254 miles per hour to Oswald's 5:63, 251. And crew chief Mike Clover is with Don Garland.
Hi, Don. Still looking good. Yeah, we're here. Listen, it's pretty hot out, and it's going to be a battle of the guys who can run good in the heat here, like be the guys that do good for the rest of the summer. It's pretty tough conditions out here. We spun the tires a lot of the time. Run before our shoes, plenty safe. So we're going to have to look at the computer and read it and go for next round, but it was still a pretty good run for us. Thanks.
So Prudhomme advances to the semifinal round and now climbs out of a hot, hot office. And we'll be back with more from the Summer Nationals in a moment. With Steve Evans and Don Garlitz, I'm Gary Gerald. We welcome you back to the Budweiser Summer Nationals. We're in the top fuel pits of Gene Snow, an engine change in progress after the problems he had in that earlier run against Darrell Gwynn. A successful run, however, that put Snow into the semifinal pairing.
Well, while the sweat flows in Gene Snow's camp back out of the drag strip, it's time for more funny car action. One half of the next pair will be John Ford. Earlier, Don Garland took a good look at this automobile.
A top fuel dragster is long and slender, but a funny car is short and stubby because it is a replica of some type of a modern passenger car. It has this spoiler on the back in lieu of the big tall wing that you normally see on the top fuelers. That's for traction because they have the same problem as the fuelers. They have to have traction. Underneath here, the first thing up front is a huge fuel tank full of nitromethane, the substance that powers this 500 cubic inch engine. Same type of an engine that's in a dragster. Runs into a transmission and back to the rear end with the two great big 17.5-inch tires, just like on the dragster. The difference is, though, there's a seat sitting right there where the driver is plugged into this car. He's in here with it.
And the man in that seat, of course, is John Ford, who does a practice start on dry burnout. The traction looks good for him. We know that because there was no smoke off the tires. Battling with Force will be Bruce Larson, who after 25 years of racing scored his first NHRA victory this year, the Cajun Nationals. John Force won the 88 Spring Nationals, is the low qualifier here. The quickest car of the event at 5.46 seconds.
John Force's performance has certainly picked up since Austin Coyle, the crew chief, has put some new innovations on that car.
Indeed, this car has a 5-stage clutch, air brakes, all kinds of things. It's Force, the low qualifier, in the far lane. Out to knock him off is Bruce Larson from Pennsylvania. Beautiful start. Force has the lead. Force in the far lane. Loses a bit of the chance. Look at this. Bruce Larson's crew chief, Maynard Yanks, has gone crazy on the starting line because Bruce Larson has come from behind to win it. 5:59 to a 5:65.
Both cars lead the line almost dead even. But you can see that Bruce Larson is making a tremendous amount of power and not spinning the tires. Watch the black marks follow the car as he pulls away from John Force. John Force has a little bit of trouble, gets over out of the groove just a hair and just enough to allow Larson to win the race.
Well, the John Force fans were celebrating when this pair reached half track. They're not celebrating anymore. Bruce Larson from behind, 5:59.
No, Steve, it felt good. It came on real strong at the top end. We leaned on it pretty hard for this guy, and it paid off.
Well, indeed, it did pay off, and it's got to be a very happy Bruce Larson as we look at our next pair. Dale Pulde, winner of the Winter Nationals in Pomona to start this season, going against Chuck Etchells. Etchells is the only non-winner that's left now in the field, and we'll see if this streak can be kept alive of a different winner at every stop in the NHRA season. Etchells from Woodstock, Connecticut will go against Pulde. Pulde driving a Cutlass, and as we mentioned, a winner at Pomona in the Winter Nationals. It'll be Pulde in the near lane.
For the first time at this race, all of these funny cars are sporting 6-inch size holes in both of the side windows. That's in case there was a fire that the safety squad can get some water in on the driver.
One of the first new rules that all the drivers were really for 100%, Steve.
Chuck Etchells in the far lane, the only driver left in competition who has not scored a victory this year. Dale Pulde is out to keep it that way. Pulde in the near lane, Etchells far lane, they lead right together. Pulde takes charge at mid-course. Crew chief Dave Settles looks on as Dale Pulde goes to the semifinal.
Pulde at 5:54 to 5:75 for Etchells. Let's check those semifinal pairings now. Pulde will go against Don Prudhomme. Prudhomme has the lane choice spot just 0.03 of a second. The second pairing has Kenny Bernstein against Bruce Larson. Bernstein has the choice of lanes.
And Gary, you notice that Prudhomme has not had the heads off all day long. This gives Mike Clover a lot more time to tune the engine, tune the clutch, and do the things that cause the car to run quicker and faster. When you're hammering pistons in, you can't do that.
Meanwhile, at the far end, Steve is with Dale Pulde.
When you climb out of one of these cars today, it's a little like peeling the aluminum foil off of a baked potato. You okay?
Well, I'll tell you, it's hot in there. I'm doing fine, though. I'm a little out of shape, I guess.
I can take your mind off the heat. A beautiful 554.
Oh, great. The guys have been working hard for the last few races trying to get the car to quit smoking the tires, and I think we've overcome it. Now we've got a chance to go out and be a little more competitive.